Hello and welcome to the Thank You for Knitting YouTube channel. My name is Alana and I'm a yarn shop owner and knitwear designer living in Auckland, New Zealand. It's good to be back. It feels like I've been gone longer than I actually have because I've been away from the shop for the last couple of weeks. Today will be episode 17, so it is a standard podcast episode. And before I get into the knitting, I want to just give a brief mention. Some of you already know that I just had surgery recently, and if you don't know, you might be wondering why I sound very nasally. So I just wanted to briefly explain that 2.5 weeks ago I had a type of brain surgery where they go up through your nostrils so they don't have to cut into your skull, which is why I look normal. I have a couple of scabs on my head from where there was a disc screwed into my skull, but other than that, no shaved hair and no external scars. But it was really cool. So it's the third time I've had that surgery and it was a successful operation as far as we can see so far. So I wanted to mention it because I know some of you already know about that, and I wanted to say thank you to everyone who sent messages and well wishes and all of that kind of thing. The one thing I will say is that I think it's awesome that they have these ways of operating that are less invasive and just, sort of highly technical and accurate. This is the third time I've had this type of surgery. The other two were many years ago, but it's a really cool procedure and I was grateful to be able to get it done. Anyway, I'm recovering really, really well. I'm feeling great for the most part, and I've enjoyed my time at home actually after surgery. So right after, I had a lot of restrictions. I couldn't really lift anything. I couldn't do anything strenuous. I can't do any exercise still. I can't blow my nose. I can't drink out of a straw. There's a lot of just being delicate and gentle. And I basically stayed home and didn't really go anywhere for 2 weeks. But one thing that I could do was knitting. So I think by the third or fourth day after the surgery, I was already able to knit, and I've knitted every day since then, so I've knitted quite a lot. And so today's episode is probably a little bit chaotic because I just didn't hold back. I got chaotic cast on energy and I just casted on a lot of things kind of all at once. I normally am always thinking at least 5 projects ahead of where I'm at, but I usually wait to cast on too many new things until I've finished a few things. But something about the energy I was having post-surgery, I just didn't want to not do anything in terms of casting on. So anything I thought, oh, I should cast that on soon, I was like, I'll just cast it on now. So I've probably cast on maybe 5 or 6 or 7, I don't even know how many projects since I last saw you, which was only a couple of weeks ago. So this episode is going to be filled with quite a lot of whips, and I think I only have one finished object, but it is an object you have not seen before because we're in Socktober, and so I've been doing a fair bit of sock knitting, not as much as normal because of all my other projects and because of my my secret advent projects, which I've been working on a lot, but I still can't show those. So all of that to say, let's get into the knitting. As usual, I've got my computer in front of me so I can go through kind of chronologically and make sure to cover everything. As usual, I'm only going to mention whips that I've started since I saw you last or that I've made progress on since I saw you last. I always have a handful of whips that are just waiting in the background, but if I haven't touched them lately, then I'm not going to mention them. So before we get into all that, I'm not wearing anything knitted today, although I do have my Ranunculus, my cashmere Ranunculus, fully blocked and with me. So I think I'll just do a costume change and I'll put on the Ranunculus. Then I'll be wearing knitting, and then I can also show you what it looks like on, because last time I showed you it was finished but not blocked. So I will do a costume change and I will be right back. Okay, I am back and I'm wearing my latest Ranunculus. So you've seen this one before. This is the one that I knit in the 2 strands held double of the Cardiff Prime, which is a beautiful brushed cashmere and silk yarn. So if you watched my last episode, then you would know that I was trying to make this ranunculus out of just 4 of the balls of the Cardiff Prime. So the Prime comes in 25-gram balls, just like most mohair yarns do. And it has 300 meters per ball, so more meterage than you would normally get with mohair. And I thought I could get a ranunculus out of just 4 balls, just knowing that the ranunculus is such a loose gauge, and I wanted to see if it could be done, and I did it. So this is what I've got out of the 4 balls. I'll try to come a little bit closer so you can see. It's a little bit cropped, which I like, not crazy cropped. And the sleeves come a little bit past my elbow, so it's a nice 3/4 length. And yeah, like I said, just less than 4 balls total. So I was holding 2 strands together the whole time, which means basically 600 meters, a little less than, of knitting, if that makes sense. Let me grab a ball of the yarn just to show you that. So this is the Cardiff Prime. This is what it looks like. Very fluffy, like a mohair or a Surrey alpaca yarn, with the silk core, so very similar in style to those other fluffy yarns, but definitely the softest one because it's cashmere. And like I said, 300 meters per ball, so it goes a long way. The color I used is 178 Buthan, something like that. And yeah, I mentioned all this before, so I won't repeat everything, but I did a 4mm needle on the neckline, I did a 5mm needle in the lacy bit, and then I did a 6mm needle for the rest of the body. It's definitely very light and airy. You can see it's on the edge of being a little bit sheer, but I think it's not too bad. It's more or less not a see-through fabric, but it is kind of on the edge. If I were to do this again, I would maybe go down a half a needle size or a whole needle size potentially to get a more opaque fabric. And I would also probably not do the neckline on a 4mm. I would do it on a 5, because this neck, it's a little tight, like getting it over my head. Once it's on, I like how it looks, but it was a little tight to get over my head. I did a little bit of stretching it out, so I think a 4mm was a little too much for the ribbing. I would just do all of that in a 5. And then maybe the whole thing in a 5 or a 5.5. I don't know. But as you know, with the ranunculus, you can really customize the needle size, the gauge, all of that. I've mentioned it lately ad nauseum, but I have a video all about the ranunculus on my channel, and it explains about substituting yarn, changing the gauge, modifications, all of that. But yeah, that's all I'll say about that. This is my 8th ranunculus. I will say that it is definitely the softest thing that I have ever owned. The brushed cashmere is just, it's like a cloud. And obviously the whole garment weighs less than 100 grams, so it's light as air and soft as a cloud. It's really, really lovely. I'm very keen to make more garments with this yarn. I'm also keen to try holding 1 strand of the Prime with another yarn and see what kind of fabric that creates. So it's a really cool yarn. So yeah, I'm really happy with this one. Sadly, I'm probably going to leave it in the shop now as a sample for a while, so I won't really be able to wear it much, but I'm happy to have it, and I'm happy to have it as a sample. So that's what I'm wearing. Okay, so as I mentioned, I have 1 finished object to show you today. I technically finished 2 objects, but one of them was one of my advent shawls, so I can't show that yet. But the second finished object is a pair of socks, and these were my September socks. So I started them again in probably the second to last or last day of September, so just at the very end, right in the lead up to Socktober. And then I loved the colors so much that I knit them pretty quickly, and they are done. So let me grab those. Yeah, my Ravelry page says I cast on September 30th. And the yarn that I used was from Katrine, who works here and who I've talked about before. She is the dyer behind Yarnfloozy Yarns. So this is her label. And every year we do a Socktober knit along here, And we typically get some indie dyers that we know they'll dye us up some special sock yarns just for the month of Socktober. And Katrine made a ton of she made beautiful sock sets and beautiful mini skein sets. And she brought in a ton, and I think we only have one left. So they were all really pretty, but the one that I immediately fell in love with, as you can imagine, was shades of brown and gold. So the base of the yarn is her machinist base, which is 70% merino, 20% yak, 10% nylon. It's a yarn I really love, and it's good for socks. And so this was a mini set, so you get 5 20-gram skeins, so you have a total of 100 grams. And I might insert a photo. We took like a pretty photo of the actual set for our website. I might insert that somewhere, and then I'll show you kind of what I have left over of the 5 colors. So you just have some really lovely browns and golds, and I thought it was so pretty. I had to have it. So these are the socks that I made. Oh, I'm gonna get a sock blocker. Okay, this is our smallest size blocker, so my sock's a little bigger. I normally use the medium one for myself, but I think you get the picture. So I just saw these colors and immediately pictured them in these kind of wide stripes. I do a lot of striped socks that are self-striping or micro-striped, but I just kind of wanted wider stripes, and I really like it. So I just kind of changed color whenever I felt like it. There's 5 colors in there, and I used most of this darkest one, but then I have some leftovers of the other ones. It's not a shorty, but it's not a really tall one. It's more medium. So I've got the 2x2 ribbing on the leg, stockinette on the foot, my standard heel shaping. This is my Black Cat favorite socks pattern, which nowadays I can finally say you can get it on Ravelry or our website, rather than for the last year where I had to say coming soon. Now you can get it. It's still, the pattern is still 25% off through the end of October for Socktober. So anyway, that's my Black Cat favorite socks. I do the size 2 of the pattern. So that's the first one, and that is the second one. They're the same, but I'll just put one of them on a blocker. So yeah, really chuffed with these, very happy, love the colors. I know I knit a lot of brown, but I have never knit brown socks. Oh, and I've knit some kind of brown socks before, but anyway, I've never knit socks these colors, and I really like them. So very happy to have those done. Those are my September socks, and that will be my only finished object. But now I'm going to tell you about all the whips. I will first show you updates on things you've seen before, because that shouldn't take very long, and then I'll show you the new cast-ons that I've started. Okay, so I'm actually not quite going to go in order. We were just talking about socks, so I'm just going to quickly talk about the other socks I'm working on right now. It looks like one of them I didn't bring, but I might insert a photo. So, okay, I'll insert a photo of my July socks. Those were the ones I was making in a beautiful self-striping yarn from, again, Katrine, Yarnfloozy. And this was a one-off self-striping that she made that I bought at Fibertron down in Hamilton this year. So these were my July socks. I haven't made a ton of progress. The photo isn't going to show any progress. I've made a little bit of progress, but I've got them back in the sort of active category because I will make more progress during this month. The other pair that I have pulled out of kind of hibernation, I guess, is my June socks, which you may recall are in the Mrs Peacock's self-striping yarn. So this is the ball of yarn. These were my June socks. I bought this at Woolfest, and the color is Amberlight. And I have a little mini that is called Firebird. So on the edge, there's this other orange mini. And so this is where I'm up to. So I'm very close to the heel shaping, and I'm going to be picking that up again soon. So I wanted to quickly show all those socks because next time you'll see them, they will hopefully either be finished or close to being finished. We'll see. And then there's one more pair of socks that I cast on that you haven't seen yet. And those were my October socks. So these socks I'm actually making for a friend. And these are also nearly done. So I started these October 10th, and I'm using this Opal 8-ply called Winter Sun. The color of this one is 11431 Winterduft. And yeah, so it's the 8-ply version of the kind of self-striping opal yarn. I'm using a 3.25mm needle, which I typically like for an 8-ply sock. And yeah, because they're 8-ply and because they're self-patterning, they are going very quickly. So I finished the first one. I'll put that in a blocker as well. So there they are. These are, again, these are my Black Cat favorite socks pattern, but I've kind of adapted them for DK weight. I do 40 stitches for my DK weight socks, and like I said, 3.25mm needle, and that is a great fit. These are a gift for a friend whose feet are similar size to mine, maybe half a size smaller. So I made these more or less my size, but a little shorter in the foot, so I think they'll fit her. And yeah, she lives in Australia, so I will see her next month and give them to her. So that's the first one finished. And here's the second one, which is already, the foot is done and the heel shaping is totally done. So all I have to do is that little leg part. So I will most likely finish this in the next couple of days. That's been super, super quick. And that is the nice thing about DK weight socks. I had these other lingering socks and I thought I better cast on a DK pair, which will be nice and quick and easy. Plus I just love the opal patterns. I think they're really pretty. And I do find that the pattern yarns make the knitting quicker because you kind of want to see what the pattern will do, and it gives you easy visual places to know when to, you know, how long to knit your foot and all that kind of stuff. So that is my October socks. Those will definitely be done next time I see you. And I've got a few other new cast-ons, which I haven't made a ton of progress on. Oh, but first I will show you an update on my Felix pullover. So I showed you that one last time, and I think last time I had just cast it on and barely made any progress, but now I am very close to being finished. So I just have part of a sleeve left, so I'll show you that. So this is my Felix sweater, patterned by Christoffers. I have previously made the Felix cardigan before, but this is my first time making the sweater. I think it's a great design. It's a pretty big gauge, it's pretty quick. The increases in the raglan have a beautiful lace detail to them, and I think it's a lovely looking pattern. So I had cast this on last time because we had just gotten in a new yarn, which is the Spinning Yarns Weaving Tales Tweedy wool yarns. So this one is called Dooish, so that's the kind of worsted weight range. The color that I'm using for my Felix is 3792 Carrigeen, and I'm making my Felix a little bit cropped. I want it to be something you wear with skirts or high-waisted pants or something like that. So it's on the more fitted side and on the cropped side. That's just the style I was going for. So I started with 3 skeins of yarn, and I still have nearly a full skein left. So I will certainly use under 3 skeins for this whole project, which is cool. So I ended up making the smallest size of this pattern because, again, I wanted it to be a more fitted look. And here is my progress. So I finished the first sleeve, and I have made it to here on the second sleeve. So not that far, but sleeves are very quick, especially because I use the shorties. And so that should not take too long to get through the second sleeve. Now, in terms of modifications that I have done, first I'll see if you can see the nice lacy detail. It'll be a little more clear, I think, when I block it, but the modifications I've made are that I did a series of decreases in the body because, again, I wanted it to come in at the waist and then be a cropped style. So I've done 4 decreases on both sides, so a total of 2 stitches on each side 4 times. So 4, 8, 12, 16 total decreased stitches so that it comes down in at the waist, as you can as you can kind of see. I'm very happy with the fit and the style. Like I said, it's on the cropped side, so I don't know if I wrote down exactly what I did. Oh, I haven't written it down yet, but I do believe I made it more cropped than the pattern suggests. I will measure that at some point and update my Ravelry page so that you know exactly what I've done. And then for the sleeves, I did something I do often, which is I didn't do any sleeve decreases. I just knit the whole thing straight down. And then at the very end, I did a rapid decrease right before the ribbing. So you end up getting a reasonably straight sleeve, but it looks like it has just a tiny little puff at the bottom, and then it comes in, which is a look that I really like. So I think I mentioned before that this yarn is sold in the oil, meaning they have not washed it post the commercial spinning process. So it changes a fair bit between the skein and then when you wash the garment. So I'm very much looking forward to actually washing this, wearing it, and kind of seeing how the fabric and the garment transforms. But yeah, I've enjoyed knitting with the yarn. Very happy with this garment. Definitely a neutral color, but if you look up close, it has a ton of flecks of kind of interesting different colors in it. It's a different color for me. I don't typically wear something this neutral, but I'm hoping there's enough kind of red and gold and brown flecks that it's warm enough that I can wear it. But yeah, that's my progress on my Felix, and I can almost guarantee that that will also be finished next time I see you, because I just have that one sleeve to do, which should only take a couple of days. So that is my Felix progress. Now I've got 3 new cast-ons, which I cast on during my chaotic cast-on energy, so neither of them are that big yet because I've been doing a lot on the Advent shawls, and then I've got these other things, but I'm excited about all 3 of them. So I'll just kind of show you where I've gotten to. So the first one is the Copenhagen cardigan, which is a petite knit pattern. I chose this pattern because I like a high neck cardigan. This pattern has a nice high neck. It's a very classic shape. It's a raglan. And what I also like is that you are working the button band edge as you go, so you don't have to come and pick up stitches later. And I kind of like that because I had a slightly limited yarn quantity. I can get more because we carry the yarn here, but I had 4 skeins of this yarn, which again is Katrine's yarn. I'll just show you. But anyway, I wanted to knit, I like the idea that you don't have to, you don't have to do the finishing at the end. You're doing it all at the same time, so you make it however long you want, and when you're done, you're done. And I've always liked this pattern. The gauge was perfect and the fit looks good, so I'm excited about it. So the yarn I have is Katrine's yarn, which is, it's the merino, yak, and silk blend, and it's DK weight. It's called Staunch. So where her sock yarn is merino, yak, and nylon, this one is merino, yak, and silk. It's just a little bit shinier. It's very soft. And then it's one of these colors that I have always loved from Katrine, Blackened Rainbow. So you get these really dark, moody, Blackened Rainbow. It's the perfect name. So I just thought it'll be almost a neutral cardigan, but if you look closely, you'll see the beautiful nuance of color. So I cast that on, let's see, October 8th. This is my progress so far. So I'm just on the top of the yoke, and I hope you can see the nuance of color that is going on in this yarn. I think it is so pretty. So this is the type of garment where I actually looked at my wardrobe and what I thought I needed, and I think this will really fill a hole in my wardrobe. So I have no idea when I will finish this. I just wanted to cast it on, so I did. So that is my Copenhagen cardigan. Oh yeah, I'm making the size small, and like I said, I have 4 skeins of the yarn, which I think will be enough. It's about 848 meters. And I'm using the recommended needles, 4mm for the main and 3.5 on the edges. So that is my Blackened Rainbow cardigan. Now my next cast on is similar. It was just fully indulgent. I've showed you this hand spun before, and I've had the plan to make a Sophie shawl with it for ever since I spun it. And I was just standing there looking at my yarn and thinking, why don't I just start it right now? So I also cast this on October 8th, same day I cast on that cardigan. That was just a day, I guess. But I believe I showed you this maybe a few months ago. It is the hand spun yarn that I made with, it's all wound into a ball now, but it's made with the Haunui fiber, which I've mentioned before. It's this absolutely beautiful breed of yarn, of wool that we have here in New Zealand that only comes from one farm. I know the farmers, Harriet, who it's her family farm, and it is incredibly soft, but it also has a longer staple than a lot of the really soft yarns. And I've talked about it a lot, but it is by far the easiest yarn to spin that I have ever spun. I think the fiber is incredible and it's just really well prepped, and so it is my favorite spinning. It manages to be lofty and light and soft while also being a bit silky and smooth. It's the perfect fiber. Sorry, I don't remember if I said this already or not. The color of this is chocolate. So they have loads of undyed colors from their different colored sheep, and this color is the chocolate one, which is a really nice, rich, warm, natural brown. And yeah, ever since I spun it, I pictured it being a Sophie shawl. So that's the larger version, not the Sophie scarf, but the Sophie shawl. Maybe I pictured this because Petite knit, one of her original samples of the Sophie shawl, is like a chocolate brown. But I just thought, oh, I'd love to have a hand spun chocolate Sophie shawl. So I just cast it on. And again, no pressure to finish it anytime soon. I just thought, I know I'm gonna knit this eventually. Why don't I start it now? Then it'll be in progress and I can pick it up when I feel like it. So this is the first ball. I've got a whole nother one. And this is my progress. I think this is all just basically from that one evening where I cast it on, but that is my Sophie shawl. And yeah, it's really squishy and soft. It's thick. My hand spun is probably at least a worsted weight here. And I knit the Sophie scarf before, and I remember finding it weirdly difficult to keep track of my repeats of the increases. I mean, I wasn't using stitch markers or anything, so this time I'm just moving my markers as I go. And then I have this, what do you call it? Progress keeper, which is there just to quickly communicate to me which is the right side and the wrong side. And that's just what's working for me as a kind of easy way to keep track of when to do my increase rows. So yeah, that's my hand spun Sophie shawl. It's a product I can't wait to have. I think it's one of those items I'm gonna wear all the time. Most people say it's one of their most worn knits. It's just so classic and wearable and beautiful, and it's my hand spun. So that is another whip, and who knows when it'll be done, but I love it. Okay, one more whip, this is also a new cast on. This one I started, so we have just been getting spring weather kind of the last week or two, on and off, not every day, but I really feel like spring is in the air here, like summer is coming, and so it has very much gotten me in the mood to start my warm weather knits. And we also ordered in quite a few really beautiful new summer yarns. Well, some of them are just yarns we normally have in the summer, which we sort of stop carrying in the winter because otherwise they just sit there and take up space. So we sort of bring them back in the summer. So we've brought back some of our beautiful summer yarns, and we've brought in new ones that we never had before. So I'm all motivated to try them out and knit summer tops. So the first one that I have cast on, again, I haven't made it super far yet, but this is the Plumeria tank top by Alongavec Anna, and it is like a high neck, almost racer style, I think that's what you call it, where instead of the tank top going up like this, it goes at an angle like this, and then you have quite a high neck. That's a style that I typically like, and so that's why I chose this pattern. I think it will suit me. I don't wear a lot of tank tops, but if I do, this is the style that I like. And so that's why I picked the pattern. I'm doing the 90 centimeter size. Her sizes are not numbered, they're just lists of centimeters. So I think it might be the second or third size, but it's the 90 centimeter finished circumference, which gives me a few centimeters of positive ease. And this is my progress. Oh, let me show you the yarn first. So the yarn is one that we just got in, and it's Kremke Soul Wool, and it's called Morning Salutation. This is the DK version. They also have a Morning Salutation Fine, I think, which is 4-ply version. But it is a blend. We were excited about this one. It's a blend of cotton and tencel. So the cotton makes up 49% and 51% is tencel, which apparently I've learned is the same thing as lyocell, but tencel is the trademarked name for a specific type of lyocell, I guess. So this is tencel and cotton. And the colors have like a little bit of a marl, very subtle, but you can sort of see. So I'm not sure if it's because of how they've spun the different fibers together and how the different fibers take the dye, or if it's something else. I think it's probably that, but I think it's a beautiful look. It's got a beautiful color range, and so far it feels really nice, so I'm excited about it. So I have two colors. If you've seen the picture that I inserted, you can see that the Plumeria tank top is striped, and I don't know, right now I'm just really into super low contrast stripes. I didn't want an overtly stripy item, but I liked both of these colors, and I thought a really subtle stripe could be cool. So I've got the color number 7, which is aubergine, and this is the color number 8, which I think is called chocolate. Yeah, it's called chocolate. To me, it leans in a purple direction for sure, like a dark, chocolatey, blackish purple. So these colors are similar, but I really like how they are striped together. So I've cast on, this is the neck. So again, it's a pretty high neck, and then you go down. Later, you're gonna pick up ribbing on the side, so it won't be this narrow, it'll be further out. And I hope you can see my stripes. Like I said, they are subtle, but I'm striping between the two colors. I have also slightly changed the pattern because in the pattern, the stripes, the two colors of stripes are a different thickness. So one color is X number of rows, the other color is the other number of rows. I just wanted an equal amount of both colors, I guess. So I've modified, and I'm just making my stripes all the same width. So that is my progress. I'm happy with it so far. I think I'm gonna like it, and I'm gonna be working on that soon for sure. And that is my last current whip. Now, I want to mention one more thing. I don't ever do plans. If you watch my channel, you know I don't ever talk about plans because my plans change constantly. I talked about a plan once, and then I don't remember what happened, but it failed. So I probably shouldn't talk about plans, but I'm going to briefly mention my plan because I have a plan for another summer garment, and this is one that I've been really kind of obsessed with lately. So this is the blouse number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I will insert a photo. I started looking at this, I've seen this a while ago, but I don't know what, I went down this rabbit hole and I was looking at different people's projects, and I just really like the look and style of this. So it's a long sleeved top, but it's definitely in the shirt category, not a jumper. But this is another new yarn we just got in, and it's the Rowan Cotton Revive. So I'm excited about this one. It's a recycled cotton with, I think, 20% recycled other fibers. So it must be a bunch of stuff mixed together. It primarily feels cottony to me, but it's in this lovely chainette construction. So I think that's just gonna give it this kind of airy, light, summery vibe. It's not a thick, dense yarn at all. And I've got the shade 4, and I am very ready to cast on ASAP this blouse number 1. It's a lovely kind of, not quite a boat neck. Boat neck might be the right word. It has a little bit of a rolled kind of raw edge. The sleeves flare out just a little bit, and it's reasonably fitted in the body. I just think it looks pretty elegant and kind of elevated. And so I'm very excited to cast this on. So I'm just mentioning it because I feel like I might cast it on tonight. I'm so excited to knit this, and I like this color a lot. So excited to start that soon. But that's pretty much it for what I've made any meaningful progress on. So I think that that is all that I have to share with you today. I've got a video coming up really soon about how to get the most out of Ravelry. That's been probably my most requested video. A ton of people have asked about that, which I think is awesome. So I've done my best to make a really useful video about that topic. So I'm just in the middle of editing that right now, but that'll come out soon. And otherwise, that's all my knitting. Chaotic energy, lots of whips, lots of progress on secret projects that I can't show you yet, but I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!